A chilly but beautiful early October afternoon serves as a backdrop here at Indian Hills Tomahawk Stadium, which is a site of this afternoon's exciting junior high school football game pitting Coach Larry Eli's 7th grade Indian Hill Braves against Coach Larry Sporing's 7th grade Deer Park Wildcats. Hi everybody, Joe and Andy's dad, Dave Prem, back again alongside of my old colleague John Cordell, Bo's dad, here to give you the play-by-play of what promises to be another exciting football game. John, the Braves coming off a big win last week at the hands of the Marymount Warriors, beating them 70-0 in convincing fashion. Hope to extend their 3-0 winning streak against the Wildcats, who have yet to win this season, but I'm told play very, very good football. And I'll tell you, if the first game is a measuring stick by which the Deer Park Wildcats play football, we're in for a pretty good game this afternoon.
No question about it, David. So good seeing you this year, buddy. Get back on the networks, as we say. It's been a long time, buddy.
I don't know if you can see down there on the field as the cheerleaders bring out their banner for the 7th grade team to bust through as they do, and they're all ready to play football as the captains are out at the center of the field there, Indian Hill and Deer Park getting ready for the coin toss. Looks like the coin toss has been made now, and the two referees are conferring with the Wildcats players to see what their choice is going to be. John, looks like they won the toss. They're going to defer. That means they think they got a pretty good defense. Well, we got a pretty good offense. We'll have to see what Bo and the boys can do.
There you go. That's usually
here.
we like to go on defense just to get the boys hitting and get them going, but we'll take it. We'll take the challenge. Nice little cool crisp day here, so maybe get out there and get some hits and get warm and get this game going.
Got a kind of an unusual condition for us, as we really don't have a microphone that we can move back and forth, and that's probably a good thing, John. As maybe you'll get to watch the game instead of listening to us call it. You see the Braves starting to make their way out to the field right now, and as the boys start getting ready for the first play, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to the 2003 7th grade Indian Hill Braves. Number 11 is Wally Morris. Number 24, our quarterback, your son John, Bo Cordell. 25, Justin Gooch. Number 27 is Brendan Johnson. 32 is Teddy Bolser. Number 34 is Matt Wells. 36, Cole Klosser. 43 is Kane Muir. Number 47 is Kevin Klug. 49, my favorite player, Andy Prem. Number 52, Tevin Smith. Number 59, our big center, Roland Summer. Number 63, Scott Porter. Those are some of the Braves you're going to see this afternoon, as you see a wide set here with number 14 over there, Charlie Lappin, moving to the right-hand side of the screen, and you saw number 43, Kane Muir, going into motion. I think the refs have to get the chain set, John, before you can play some football. And I want to know, are you ready for some football?
I'm ready for some football. This is football weather, buddy. Nice chill in the fall time and ready to play. Braves have been playing some super football this year so far, and we can give a lot of this credit to Tom Bolzer, how he's brought this league up, or the club. Now we're into the school, and it's a little different, Dave, and sure enjoying it.
You know, John, one of the things we should talk about as the game gets underway or gets ready to start is what a dangerous team the Deer Park Wildcats can be. We talked to one of their coaches before the game, and he told us that they haven't had a lot of success so far in the season, and sometimes that can be a problem for a team like the Braves, who have had a lot of success. So I hope they're not coming in here overconfident, because I watch these guys in warm-up, and they're here ready to play, and this could be the game, their bust-out game, when things start going their way.
That's what I was telling Bo and a buddy last night, Scott Porter. They were talking about it, and I said, hey guys, you got to take this like this team's coming here 3-0, because one fumble here and there and get momentum going, and you know how football is. It's a game of a lot of momentum, and you got to go out there and score first and get that defense on the field. I believe we've only given up 6 points the whole year so far, so let's see. We got to play some tough football.
While we're waiting for the chain gang to get set up, let me finish with the Braves. 71, Spencer Brown. 72, Lander McClellan. 73, Adam Scherzinger. 14 is Charlie Lappin. 77 is Charlie Brown. Number 84, Jordan Ribario. Number 92, Ryan Chait. 93, Matt Griggs. And 94, Arnoff Mitra. There's a couple other kids that didn't make the roster. I'll try to figure out who they are as play begins, but we're looking at 1st and 10 now as number 43, Kane Muir, goes in motion, and Bo's going to hand off up the gut to big Matt, number 34, Matt Wells. And John, he picks up where he left off last time. He's got 2 men to beat. He's going to do it. touchdown Indian Hill, and you know if you're Coach Sporing, that's not the way you want to see the game start off, with Matt Wells going 60 yards to pay dirt on the first play, John. 12 seconds into the game, the Braves are up 12-0, but he's been doing that all year.
Unbelievable. Last year the kid didn't even carry a football. This year I think he had 5 touchdown runs last week. I have no idea how many he's got this year, but the kid's come to play some football.
You know, John, he's really impressive too. Good size, good speed for a big guy, but a lot of power, hard to bring down when he goes up the gut, and that was just good old-fashioned, I'm going to beat you, and he did. And now the Braves are going to go for 2 and try to make it 8-0. You see Bo lining up now. He's got wide receivers split on both sides. He's under the ball, and he sends Teddy Bolser, number 32, in motion. He's back to pass. He looks, and he's got number 43. It looks like Kane Muir, who's not able to hang on, John, wide open. And when you get a chance like that, you got to be able to capitalize on it and catch the ball.
That's right. Those 2 points mean a lot in this kind of, as you and I've talked all through the club and through this. But what a run by Matt. Like I said, that young man's came from nowhere, and this year he's been awesome.
John, let me tell you who the 2003 Deer Park Wildcats are. You're going to see out there this afternoon. Number 1 is Adam Pettyjohn. Number 6 is Jack Stratman. Number 14 is Daniel Abel. Number 20 is Sam Hurd. Mike Runge, 21. Brendan O'Leary is 24. Number 27 is Cody Napier. We're going to get the rest of them after this play. 1st and 10 faces the Wildcats now as they're in the shade on the 40-yard line. And number 6, Zach Stratman, takes the ball, but the referee indicates that somebody was offside or in the neutral zone before the ball was hiked, John, and that's not a good way to start to answer a pretty big touchdown run by the Braves.
No, that's exactly what the Braves wanted to do. Come out and score fast. I didn't quite mean that fast, but something. But I'm sure Deer Park now, they're going to be lining up here, and they just want to get something going here on offense.
You know, I said that wrong. That was offsides on the Braves, so we gave them 5. We don't want that to happen either now as they send their big fullback up the gut, but number 34, Teddy Bolser, number 11, Wally Morris, and a couple other Braves are there to meet their big running back, number 57, whose name I haven't gotten to yet, Travis Roth. He was met at the line, no gain, 2nd down and 5. John, 43 is Andrew Kirby. Jerry Jones is 50. Kanan Harrison is 53. Travis Ross, as I said, 57. And Simon Carter is 58. I'll get the rest in a moment now as the Wildcats are faced with a 2nd and 5 from the 45. And Zach Stratman goes back and he hands off, and his running back is able to wiggle forward for about maybe a 2-yard gain. Call it 1.5 is number 24, Michael Runge. And now the Wildcats are going to be faced with about a 3rd and 3, John. And let's see if our stingy defense is able to shut them down here. You know, the defense has been the main cog of this team all year, and they got to come up with a big play right here. Technical difficulties here, John. Make us miss a great 3rd down and 3 play by the Braves. The defense stuffs them, puts the Wildcats back to 4th and 5, and they're going to have to punt. They've got their punter back in formation. We've got 2 Braves in the backfield ready to receive. Number 14, Charlie Lappin, and that punt almost blocked, and Charlie steps up, number 14 does, and brings the ball back to the 50. He's down to the 40. One man to beat. He gets to the 35, to the 30, down to the 15-yard line before he's dragged out of bounds over there. Looks like by number 2, whose name we don't have there, John. Good tackle, good touchdown-saving tackle by that Wildcat as the Braves. That's number 2 is Pettyjohn. Thanks, Coach, as he does a great job of saving a touchdown there and staying with Charlie Lappin. I'll tell you, Charlie's a rookie this year. I don't think he's played football before for Coach Bolser. I think he was on a team maybe a couple of years ago, but he's been a great asset to our core, John, as he's a great receiver and a great runner.
No question about it. I know he played some soccer. He has some legs on him. He's a good ball player.
The coach just told me number 1 is really number 2. That'll help out a lot for the Pettyjohn family, as I'm sure we're going to see some great plays from that young man all afternoon. Now Kane Muir, number 43, goes in motion, and the handoff up the gut again to big number 34, Matt Wells, who goes over the left side, John, and just bowls through a couple of Wildcats and picks up maybe about a 7-yard gain. I'm going to call it about 2nd down and maybe 3 there on a good run by Matt.
No question about it. we spoke about the number 2, Pettyjohn. His father actually was a professional football player. Was drafted by the Miami Dolphins. Went to Deer Park, and now he's the head coach of the Deer Park Wildcats. And so keep an eye on that kid. He's got some good blood.
Bo and the boys have a 2nd and 3, and Matt Wells is the only back in the backfield with Bo as he sets up under center. Bo's back to pass. He's got one man to beat. Number 57 comes around the corner, comes inside, and a nice attempt by number 6, Stratman, to try to bring Bo down, but not able to do it, John, as Bo's really shown some maturity this year. He knows when to throw it and when to run it. Did a great job of getting outside and then cutting back up to put us up 12-0.
Well, that's what we want there, bud. We've got a good run. That actually makes that pass and the run, it's tough when you got a quarterback who can run. Again, with this new coaching staff, I've been really impressed. Tom did a great job, but we never did do these kind of runs in our league, in the club, so I'm impressed.
Number 93, Matt Griggs, another great addition to our team, comes in on this conversion attempt as number 43, Kane Muir, goes into motion on the left. It's going to be a handoff to Matt Wells, and Big Matt looks like he got in, John, and now they're going to signal he didn't make it. Looked from up here from our vantage point like he made it in, but one ref saying yes, one ref saying no, so that's kind of how it is at my house sometimes, and we'll hope the ref that raised his hands knows what he's talking about, and it's 14-0 instead of 12-0.
There you go. Well, now it's time for Deer Park. They're going to have to get that offense going now and get some first downs, and they're still in the ball game. The Braves defense has to remember too. They've got to keep stopping them, but again, this young team from Deer Park get a couple first downs and get something established, and they can play.
And John, now you can hear Coach Bolser and Coach Porter yelling down for the scoreboard announcers to raise the score, and Coach Bolser now says he wants 28 on there, and maybe we'll see that this afternoon. But first, we're going to have another good defensive stand by our defense as the Wildcats try to make a positive here into what's been kind of a hard afternoon. Number 6 misses his running back and does a great thing there, John. Stratman does, is somebody missed an assignment. Probably wasn't him, probably was the back in the back that didn't realize he was supposed to get the ball, and to give Zach credit, he tucked it up and tried to get inside and try to gain some yards. There was a fumble at the end, and another player from the Wildcats knew to fall on it, so instead of giving the ball back to us, they've got it now 2nd and 10.
Right.
All right, 2nd and 10 now for Zach Stratman and the Deer Park Wildcats, who are down 14-0 first quarter. Handoff up the gut, and once again, their big fullback, number 57, Travis Roth, is met by number 43, Kane Muir, and big number 59, Roland Summer. And John, I don't know if you've noticed how big Roland has gotten since last year, but he's really filled out, and he's a really good athlete.
Unbelievable. That young man, when I saw him this fall going back to school, he's bigger than I am.
3rd down now, and 10 yards to go for Zach Stratman and the Deer Park Wildcats as they are searching for some way to get some positive yards here and get their 2003 season rolling in the right direction. Zach hands off to the left side, and number 21, their running back, Michael Runge, is met in the backfield again by number 11, Wally Morris, and a couple other Braves, John, and they're back to the position where they're going to have to punt again and have to hope their defense can make something happen, either with a turnover or stop, so they can stay in this game.
Yeah, you said something there about turnover. These kickoffs always are a little scary because that football comes down and hits that shoulder pad or your chest, and a lot can happen.
Well, a lot of things can happen on special teams, John, and including some good runs by us. Almost another block there by number 63, Scotty Porter. Charlie Lappin comes around the left side, and this time number 6, Zach Stratman, makes a pretty good tackle there, John, as Charlie's a hard guy to catch, but give Zach some credit. He stood home and let Charlie come to him and then dropped him when he had to.
Right, good play by Charlie. We spoke about Charlie earlier, but this is the first year Charlie's ever played football. Coming out of soccer, he's got good legs, fast kid, and he lives fairly close to us. He's a tough little guy, too.
John, number 65, Ryan Martin's mom, is wondering why I stopped with him when I was introducing the Wildcats. 66 is Kyle Morton, number 68 is Nick Burlage, and 78 Sam Hall. Those are the rest of the players that we're going to be seeing this afternoon. Now for 1st and 10, Bo Cordell is going to hand off up the gut once again to Matt Wells, and Matt spins and chucks, and John looked like he was going to be stopped behind the line as 3 Wildcats had to come up to stop him. 57 was Travis Roth. It looked like 50 Jerry Jones was in there, one other player, and give Matt some credit. He spun around and he maybe got a foot instead of losing some yardage.
Right. That's what we've seen out of Matt so far this year. The number of yards that kid had is awesome.
2:12 and counting here in the first quarter. Indian Hill up 14-0 on a pretty chilly afternoon here, October 2nd, 2003. Kane Muir goes into motion to the left. Bo back to pass. He's looking, a nice little pass out to Kane, and second miss this afternoon, John, and it could be because it's so cold out. His fingers aren't as nimble as they normally are, but again, he wasn't covered. Got to catch those balls.
Yeah, you got to catch him. Also, the sun may have been in his eyes. I'm looking where the ref is right now. That sun's right behind their backs. That's tough coming out of there, but you got to have those balls.
You know, somebody that might be listening to this game might wonder why I've said Kane has to catch those balls, is in part because he caught 3 or 4 passes last week, including a big 75-yard pass for a touchdown, a beautiful play from Bo to Kane, and we know that he can make those plays. Let's see what he can do here. A nice pass, and Kane shows what I'm talking about is he refuses to go down, and 3 Wildcats have to come down and drag him down just short of the touchdown there, John, and that's what I'm talking about with Kane. Kane's got great hands, great speed. He was able to get behind the safety there, and they had to have 2 other players come up and bring him down, or otherwise we'd be up 20-0.
Almost like you knew it was going to happen there, Dave, when you said that. But you're right, Kane's made some big plays this year, and I knew the kid was going to catch it. That's why I said maybe the sun was in his eyes over there a couple times, but beautiful catch by Kane.
93, Matt Griggs comes back into the game as you see the Braves racing up the field to get up on the line. Big number 59, Roland Summer, ready to hike the ball to his quarterback, 24, Bo Cordell. One man split out wide to the right. That's Matt Wells, and Matt Wells, or Kane Muir, goes in for the touchdown that he was stopped on the earlier play, John, and now it's 20-0.
That was quite a series of, again, when we scored, we scored very fast. Good pass by Bo, great catch by Kane. Like you said, Kane came back, and on the 2 drop passes he had, he sure made up for it. So,
John, you know, you see as number 84, Jordy Robario, comes into the game at one of the split ends. One of the things that's really impressive to me is what a great job the coaching staff, Coach Eli's coaching staff, is doing here, shuttling in plays, and they seem to be calling the right plays every time. I mean, they pass well, they run well, and it's just really been flowing very well.
No question about it. They've really been flowing, as you said, and a lot of these guys are fairly seasoned also. They played in that club, and we're seeing it.
2 backs in the backfield. Bo's going to keep it himself, and he goes in for another 2 points to make it a 22-0 game, John. And with 59 seconds left in the first quarter, the Braves have to be very happy that things have really gone their way in this first quarter.
No question about it. Deer Park's had a hard time. I don't think they've had a first down yet. The defense, one thing they must remember at Deer Park, this team's only given up six points, and those 6 points were actually hard fought even to get the 6 points.
John, you know, you mentioned just what a great job the defense has done and the offense. Our offense up till before this game scored 106 points in 3 games, 70 last week at the hands of Marymount, and a tough loss for them. And one of the things that I know that the coaching staff on the Wildcats is trying to impress on their players is don't quit. You never know what's going to happen in a football game. I was driving home last week as we watch 1st and 10 now for Zach Stratman, and he tries to go right up the gut, and looks like he gets maybe a yard before he's brought down there by number 32 for the Braves, Teddy Bolser, and one other Brave whose number I didn't see. But John, I was driving home last week from the Ohio State game and turned on the radio and listened and heard that Miami of Ohio was beating UC 42-17. I'm a fair weather fan, so I turned the game off, and when the news came on, the score was 42-37. So the coaching staff of the Wildcats are going to keep their guys in this game because anything can happen if they play hard.
No question about it.
Here we go now, 2nd down and 10 as Stratman back to pass. He looks up there, and Andy Prem, my favorite player, does a good job of breaking that play up for number 21.
Yes, that was a good play by Andy. He went up there, he knocked it away. Actually, it was a good little pass there. That would have been a nice play for him.
Number 21 was Mike Runge, who did everything he could to hold on to the ball, but there was some pretty good coverage. Pretty good pass by Zach. They're going to need to make plays like that to get back in the game, John.
No question about it. But like you said, your son Andy, he was up there, he stayed with him. Excellent defensive play.
Third down now and 9 yards to go in what appears to be another passing down situation for Zach and his team. You see number 21, Mike Runge, goes out wide right. It's a pitch out to the left side, and number 24, Brandon O'Leary, looks like he's brought down hard. A flag on the play, John. I'm going to have to see what it is. I wasn't watching. Normally that's in the sign of holding on the part of the offense as the ball was snapped. I didn't see anything wrong with the tackle, but we'll see. We're not the refs, and we'll see what they say.
They're definitely discussing it right now. I didn't see it, Dave. But
personal foul on the Braves. Didn't see what happened there, John. Hopefully it wasn't a late hit or a hit after the whistle. Sometimes, you know, these guys get fired up and they don't mean to do something incorrect, but you don't want to let a team that you've got down 22-0 back in the game. That's a big 15-yard penalty there, and puts them on the on our side of the field. And it's my understanding they haven't been on the positive side of the field too much this season. And let's hope that that's not the play that turns around their offense.
I'm sure the Indian Hill coaching staff's not happy with that because, like you said, you want to play football. You don't want to give them any incentive to keep going. And
John, that's the end of the first quarter there, and as you can see, the Braves are up 22-0. Coach Eli was asking the refs to maybe explain what happened on that play. I didn't see what happened, but now the Braves are going to have to step up and get the ball back.
Right. Deer Park's got, as we were talking about, they needed a break. They've got a break here now. They're on our side of the field. They got a first down, and I'm sure they're talking over there on that sidelines. They're got to be fired up. The coaching staff's trying to get them going to keep that ball moving.
As we're waiting for the second quarter to begin, one of the great things that has changed this year from last year when we were in the Pee Wee ranks is we've got some cheerleaders this year that do a great job of getting this sold-out crowd riled up during the quarters and when good plays are made. And you're looking down there, and the lady that's responsible really for the job they're doing is Leanne Ures. She started in August with the girls, just like the boys started in August practicing, and they look like seasoned vets to me.
No question at all. Pats to Leanne. That's excellent. Excellent job by Leanne.
All right, defense led by Bo and the boys now. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats as they are on the 47-yard line of the Braves, and Zach Stratman now hopes that he can find a way to work his magic. He goes back in the back. Number 59, Roland Summer, misses, and there's a tackle over there and another flag on the play. We're going to have to see what that is, John, as that might be a face mask as Zach was brought down to the ground, and we'll have to see what's called. It was called on the Wildcats side of the field over near where Zach was brought down. He did a lot of running. Didn't get any gain. Let's see if the Braves helped him along.
Yep, he ran sideways there, but like you said, usually where that call was made is either a personal foul or so we will find out shortly.
Looks like it's a 5-yard face mask penalty, John, and somebody did what they had to do to bring him down. We don't like to see that as that's what the referee signals, but the Braves now have given the Wildcats 20 yards, free yards, and penalties. They're going to have to stop them now.
Right.
So here we go, Zach Stratman and his Deer Park Wildcats on the move now as they get up to the 40-yard line. He does a little quarterback sneak and is met by 4 or 5 Braves at the line. Maybe got a yard there, does Zach. And, you know, John, that's shows you what kind of tenacity and courage that young man has. He's not the biggest guy on the team, but he's going in that middle where we've got some pretty big boys, and he's not afraid to go head-to-head with them.
No question about it. He puts his head down and tries to take them on. But like you said, we've got that front line there with Scotty Porter. You've got Teddy on the in the middle there, Roland. There's some big boys there, and they've been playing a long time.
57, their fullback Travis Roth comes off the field. Number 43 is Andrew Kirby. He comes on the field, and Zach Stratman under his center with a second down and about 4 to go. He hands off up the gut, and the running back, who might have been .45, and I don't have his name, John, but 45 made it up and got a yard out of that as he came up in the middle, and a pretty good tackle by the Brave defender. I didn't see who made the tackle, but shut him down right away.
Right. Now we'll see if the Braves can hold him here.
That was Max Holzinger, was number 45, and they're going to try to give it to number 24 this time, and he wiggles and jiggles forward and maybe picks up half of the 3 yards he needed for the first down, did Brandon O'Leary, John. And you know, down 22-0 and you're in the Braves territory, you got to figure that the coach is going to go for it here.
Right, they're so close, and like you say, they'd love to make make a first down here and keep it moving, but we're going to find out here shortly. Mr. Spalding looks like he's going to decide.
Timeout is called by Coach Sporing, John, as he's going to make maybe the first critical decision of this afternoon's contest for the Wildcats, trying to figure out whether it matters if the Braves have the ball on the 10-yard line or the 30-yard line. You know, if I was the coach, the way the Braves have been running the ball, I'd give it a shot. He's not that far away. It would be a huge lift for the Wildcats to get a first down off of the Braves at this juncture in the game. And it might, if they don't win this game, it might be a positive for them, realizing they can play against a top defense and do what they need to do when they need to do it.
No question about it. Also shows the boys, the coach has faith in them and that they can have the chance of making this first down. So you hand it off to your big guy, and a bunch of boys try to push him through that line.
Coach Eli's got his punt return team out, John, and that can be kind of misleading because the two guys that are going in the back, and now it looks like they changed the play a little bit as Matt Griggs, number 93, is going to be back playing safety, and the rest of the team lines up where they're supposed to be. It's a handoff up the gut, and it's going to be close. Depends on the spot that he's going to be given by the referee there, John, and we'll have to see where it goes. It looks from here like it may be a little short, but a great try by. Nope, they're going to give it to him. That shows you what I know. As the refs are down there close, we're kind of at an angle, and so give it to Zach and the rest of the Wildcats. They did what their coach asked them to do, and now let's see if they can turn a negative into a positive. You can hear Coach Eli down in the field not agreeing with it, but I think in this game the refs are going to cut the other team some slack when it's warranted. It looked like it was warranted in that situation, John.
Right. Well, there was a good offensive line. They had a surge there. They moved him. They got him 2 yards there, first down.
First down now as they try to run up the gut, and this time it doesn't work as 3 Braves are there to meet number 45, the running back, 24, Bo Cordell, your favorite player, 59, Roland Summer. Were 2 of the Braves in there, John, and you can hear some of the fans getting uppity there on that call where the refs gave them a first down, but we'll see if that hurts us as we move down the game here.
Mr. Boulder's been in the battlefield with these boys. He knows every one of them, so his heart's in it.
Zach Stratman now faced with a second down, and he hands off, and number 24, Brandon O'Leary, meets number 59, Roland Summer, and Roland wins that battle, John, and throws him back for about a 2-yard loss. They got a 3rd and 12 now.
If I had Roland coming to me, I'd duck. That kid, as you know, every year he goes to Germany with his grandmother over spring or summer, and he comes back bigger.
The Wildcats getting set now on 3rd and 12. They've got a back split wide to the right, and Zach is back to pass, and he is going to get crunched there, John, by 59 Roland Summer, and look like 63 Scotty Porter, and Scotty's really done a great job this year as well. He's blocked a couple punts. He gets back there, causes disruption. That time, the Braves did what they needed to do. Zach's shown that if he gets the time and he's got the opportunity, he's going to burn you. That time we did not give him the time. We put him under pressure, got a big sack.
Big sack, and I'm glad you mentioned number 63. Scotty's had a heck of a year so far this year at that line. And,
All right, it looks like Zach and the boys are going to go for it here as they got 4th down and about 16 yards to go. He's back to pass again, and he's going to be dragged down from behind by number 34, Matt Wells, John. He does it on offense, he does it on defense. A big, big play there.
No question about it. He broke through and the quarterback didn't have a chance. By the time he turned around, Matt was right there to meet him.
John, this is not like college or the pros where there's a lot of guys that play only one way. On our team, there are guys that play one way. My son Andy is a defensive player, doesn't start on offense, but you'd think that if Coach Sporing had the opportunity, he could pull his offense to the side and tell them, find good things that they did on that drive, because they did a couple of good things. They got some positive yards, and they can build off of that when they get the ball back again. Here we go now, Bo and the boys. 1st and 10 on the 49-yard line as number 32, Teddy Bolser, goes in motion. Bo's back. There's a clip and threw it over the head of Kane Muir, John, as there's a block in the back by one of the Braves who were trying to clear out for Bo. I think we're going to get about a 10-yard penalty on that.
Yep, there you go. You're right. Good call, David.
So instead of 2nd and 10, it'll be maybe 1st and 20 for Bo, and that just gives him a little bit more room, John, to throw downfield.
Yeah, there you go. Well, he's had some receivers this year to hit, so they have good hands there. And the shade's in here now, so I'm sure they're going to be airing it out a little bit.
And John, that's not a 10-yard penalty, it's 15-yard penalty. It's going to mark the ball or set the ball back to the 33-yard line. The original line of scrimmage was on the 48-yard line of the Wildcats, so that's a huge penalty that the Braves just had there.
Beaten a couple of big penalties here in the last 5 minutes.
And you know, John, it's interesting you say that. Last week, I don't recall one penalty on the Braves. I don't really recall any penalties in the Madeira game that we won handily as well. Here, we've been penalized for almost 30 yards, and it's only the first half. I don't like to see that.
No, you're right.
Matt Wells goes up the gut and picks up about 3 yards there, and not very good blocking on the inside for our boys, John, and that allowed the Wildcats to smother Matt and bring him down. You get 3 or 4 guys on him, you're going to be able to bring him down.
Right. We've seen Matt do it all year, but as you and I both know, you got to have that line open up the hole, which they've been doing a great job before, Matt. But any good running back, you've got to have a great offensive line to open those holes.
John, one of the things we haven't mentioned yet is the playing field on which these two teams are playing this afternoon. A brand new field for Indian Hill. It's a wonderful field. It's the new artificial turf like they have at the University of Cincinnati. I'm really pleased with it. The kids say it's great.
Beautiful field, you're right.
Bo back to pass, and he's got Teddy in just a little bit over Teddy's outstretched hand there, John, and I'll tell you, he was wide open. He beat his safety, and had he caught that, it would have been another 6.
Yeah, Teddy was rolling there, buddy. Bo overthrew him just a little bit. I think he was being rushed a little bit. When I turned around, he was laying on his back.
That's the kind of thing that Coach Sporing and his coaches want to see from the defense. We talked about it earlier. You get behind early, you have a tendency to just concede, and you can't do that in this game. You got to keep fighting, and if you make some hits on the quarterback, you make Bo throw early when he doesn't want to, they're going to get the same results that we've been having on their quarterback.
Exactly. You can't throw when you're being rushed, and especially at this level.
3rd down now, and about 23 yards to go for Bo and the boys as he sends Kane in motion. There's a fumble, and it looks like the Wildcats, John, have picked up the first turnover of the game. Good field position on the 30. Our defense needs to step it up now. There's 2 minutes left in the half. We don't want them to score.
No, this is exactly what Deer Park needed. They needed a break here. It's down on their end. Now let's see what the defense will see. We've seen it all year how tough they've been. Well, now it's time to suck it up again.
I didn't see who that big lineman was for the Wildcats that got in there and got that ball, John, but he did a great job of pouncing on it and protecting it. Bo looked like he was trying to option out the Kane and just lost the ball, probably because it's so cold out. But now the Braves on defense are looking at Zach Stratman, who pitches out to the right side to his running back, number 24, Mike Runge, and he is brought down by number 34, Matt Wells, who gets in the backfield, John, and really uses his strength to bring that runner down right now.
No question about it. Matt's a man on a mission. He's been through that line a couple times today.
140 and counting here in the first half of this exciting game. Braves are up 22-0, but Zach Stratman and his Deer Park Wildcats hope to have something to say about that and maybe put some points up on the board before halftime. He's back, he pitches out, there's a fumble, and the Braves pick it up. They even up in the turnover category, John, and that's been one of our successes all year, is that we are on the plus side of the turnover ratio. You got to do that to be successful in football.
No question about it. We've had a lot of fumble recoveries that we've had this year, like you said, and 1 minute and 19 seconds. Again, I'm sure they're going to try to do a little bit of running, but probably air it out a little bit too.
Big number 77, Charlie Brown, comes into play on the offensive line. And John, you know, we haven't talked about, and we will at halftime, the offensive line and the defensive line of the Braves just been doing an outstanding job in their respective positions. Bo's back, and Teddy Bolser almost makes a great catch as number 20 for Deer Park. Sam Hurd does a pretty good job on defense. He almost had a pick when he fell to the ground. You thought Teddy was going to get it, and again, John, had he got it, nobody there, it would have gone all the way.
Right, that's twice there. We've seen Ted for 5 years do that, so quite a ball player.
Teddy a little shaken up on the play, comes off. He's replaced by number 14, Charlie Lappin, as we go to our wide and glide offense, John, where we bring in all kinds of receivers to give Bo a whole bunch of options now, as Charlie Lappin, number 14, and Kane Muir, number 43, split out wide to the right. Number 11, Wally Morris, is in motion, and number 90 for the Braves, who I'm not sure who 90 is, John. He was out on the other side. Nice pass to Kane, just a little bit outside and a little bit in front of him, but was a ball that probably could have caught. Now we're going to be looking at third down and long.
Third down and long.
With 1:09 left. It's passing all the way. Here we go now, John. 3rd and 10 for the Braves as Bo approaches Roland Summer and his offensive line. Wally Morris back in motion again, and Wally comes outside. Nice block there. And Wally gets the first down. As a great block there by number 93. Matt Griggs is able to allow Wally to turn it up inside and get the first down yardage, John. A great play by Matt.
No doubt about it. I'm glad you saw that. That was an excellent play there. And,
pretty good play by Wally there too. Wally is another new addition to what we're used to, John. You know, we had the Pee Wee League, and there's 14 or 15 guys on this team that we've seen develop as football players, but we got some rookie players who have all done a great job this year, and when their number was called, did what they were supposed to do.
No question about it.
1st and 10 for Bo and the boys. Bo's got some Wildcats on his butt, and Wally Morris stretches and gets about a 3-4 yard pass there, and the Braves are going to have to call a timeout now, John, with 17 seconds on the clock, and see what the coaching staff has in store for the Wildcats here. Got to give it to us too. Some coaches would be content to go in at halftime 22-0. I think Coach Eli and his staff has seen that these Wildcats came to play 4 quarters, and they don't feel comfortable with a 22-point lead. That's why they're going for more.
Right, well, they've definitely been passing these. One thing about it, it keeps the clock stopped when you have these completions. So we've had a long 1 minute 19 seconds here, but you were talking about some of the new kids on the team, and we've when they started, actually, to be honest, I was watching them and wasn't sure what kind of team we'd have this year. This team has really practiced hard, and what a great addition all these new kids are on this team.
Well,
you
know, John, it's great that you bring that up, because the very first game of the season against Finneytown, we got out of there with a 6-0 victory, but we made a lot of mistakes, and you know, all credit to Finneytown, a great team, but should have won by more than that. The Braves really turned it around the next 2 games. They played well. As Bo throws that one over Wally's head, and Bo pays the price for staying in the pocket there, as big number 68 Nick Burlage comes in and wraps him up after he gets the pass off a good play there by Nick. But really the Braves turned it around that second game of the season against Madeira. We controlled the ball from both sides and did what we wanted to do, and just built on that last week in that big win at Marymount.
No question about it. Well, through the club, you and I saw that we had one of the better defenses for 5 years, and it's neat to see that it's come on to stay in the 7th grade level.
Offense sells tickets, defense wins football games as number 11. Wally Morris makes his way on the outside, and he's going to have to call another timeout as the coach, as Wally does a good job lumbering out there, John, and you see Bo out there trying to call a timeout. He wants one more shot at the end zone.
Wally's quite a ball player. I stand up next to him. He's a big guy, too, and he came from Pennsylvania, evidently on the team he was on, I'd heard that he was quite a quarterback, is what we were told. So when Bo being the quarterback on the club for some years, I said, well, you got competition this year, kid. Him and Wally had worked on it, and Wally turned into being a running back. He wanted to do some running, and quite an athlete.
I'll take Bo or Wally at either position any day of the week. They both do a good job now, and Bo's going to get one last chance to put a few more points on the board as he's got 4 wide receivers. Number 50 is coming out, and Bo does a great job to escape. And a nice play there by Bo Cordelis. Number 90 for the Braves, whose name I don't know, does an outstanding job there, John, and Bo did a great job as he beat the defender who was coming in on him. Looked like he was going to be sacked. Bo made a stutter step move and then had the foresight to come to the line of scrimmage but not cross it. He saw number 90 wide open, was able to hit him, and 90 did the rest. One in for another touchdown, puts the Braves up 28-0. 2-point conversion here. We're up 30-0. I'll take that.
Well, I was standing here, of course, up here this high, and when you're on the sidelines, you can make a lot of opinions and watch, but I saw him wide open. I saw Bo run. I thought, throw the ball. Thank God he threw it.
93, Matt Griggs, and 43, Kane Muir, split out wide to the right. Number 14, Charlie Lappin, to the left. One back in the backfield as number 11, Wally Morris, goes in motion. Bo back. He throws it in. Wally's unable to get it as it's a little underthrown. Good job there by the Wildcats defense as they put some pressure on Bo and made him throw it a little bit sooner than he wanted to. But all things considered, John missed 2 conversions, two-point conversions in the first half. We're still up 28-0. We look pretty good.
Yeah, they've come out to play again. I know the kids wanted to come out and do some scoring. This little club here, talking to the boys, they're so positive, and they feel that they can score on any team, and the defense, and as you say, defense wins games, but this is a little club right now that's they believe in themselves.
Now, John, if you look down at the cheerleaders, there's one cheerleader, and we're going to have to learn their names this year as well, but there's one cheerleader that will do a push-up for every point the Braves score, and I'll tell you, she's very impressive. 28 push-ups she just rolled off there to complement the 28 points that we got, and now you see Coach Eli getting down there on the ground to try to duplicate her effort. I'll tell you, he can do them pretty well too. I saw him last week. I didn't see anybody do 70 when we beat him 70-0, but he got up there to about 30.
Well, Coach Eli has been through some practice. What teams did he play for in the NFL?
I think he played for the Bengals is what I'm told, but I know he played some pro football. He's
Bengals and the Bears.
got a good attitude too, John. I've talked to him a couple times. He's always looking for the positive in any negative situation, tries to be upbeat, and one thing that I like about him is he teaches responsibility for your actions. He never looks to blame anybody. He looks for who's going to step up and accept responsibility and change things, and I think that's a great lesson for these young men to be learning.
No question about it. We're quite lucky here at
John, after a brief hiatus there for some more technical difficulties with our antiquated equipment, we're back here at halftime, and both teams are making their way back out to their respective sidelines to start the second half. John, I was just saying before we went off the air, if you're Coach Sporing, you got to find some positives in the first half, and there were some. They were able to move the ball late in the first half against us and get a first down, and I think you got to find a way to try to duplicate that. They're going to get the ball out first to start this half, and if they can come in and do something positive, it might set the tone for an exciting second half.
No question about it. You got to go over their positive, talk to them, and I'm sure on the Braves side, the coaching staff's trying to keep them down in a sense and tell them you're in a ball game, what you got to. And you got to play ball. You got it. I mean, there's 2 halves in every ball game, as you were talking about that UC Miami game.
And on the other side of the ball, if you're the Braves defense, you want to shut them down. You want to make them feel like they're out of this game and they can't get back in it. And the way to do that is do the old-fashioned 4 and out.
You got it. Going 4 and out, and at this point in the game, I'm not sure you just keep the ball on the ground and grind it out. If I know the coaching staff, they still want to do some passing and keep this thing going. But it's important for this team also. You don't want to quit. You know, you don't want to teach your kids to quit, and you got to try to keep playing.
Braves defense now coming out to greet the Wildcats offense, and the refs are trying to show them which side of the field they're supposed to be on. Looks like the Wildcats are going to go from the left to the right, John, from the east to the west of the stadium. They're going to be, the field's pretty much covered now. There's no more sun. That's not going to be a factor for the receivers. And it is kind of chilly here. That will be a factor for the receivers.
No question about it. That old pigskin gets awful hard and slick when it gets this chilly. And again, we haven't had this kind of temperature since last year, so it's the first time for these kids playing in this condition, both sides.
John, Zach Stratman now gets ready to start the second half of this game, and he's got a 1st and 10. He's going to go back to pass right off the gut, and nice pass there by Zach and big number 58. Simon Carter catches the ball. Might have lost it when he came down, but I think they're going to say, John, that the ground caused that fumble. So that's a good way to start for the Wildcats.
No question about it. That's exactly what they wanted. I'm sure their coaching staff's got to be tickled to death, get that first one and keep it moving.
And John, one of the things those short passes do, if you're successful on 2 or 3 of them, it kind of weakens up the run defense because you got to cover for the pass. Let's see if that's what Coach Sporing has in mind here in the second half, to try to find a way to get some running yards here, as Zach is now faced with the 2nd down and about 4 to go. Back to pass again, and he's out to the outside, and number 11, Wally Morris, had sights on the end zone there, as did number 49, Andy Prem. Andy looked like he might have been able to get that, John, and Wally came and tried to grab it and knock it away from the intended receiver. Good play by both those guys who were there covering the receiver, even if he would have caught it. And now it's going to be 3rd down and 4.
No question. Good defensive play, like you said. If he did catch it to the receiver, he wasn't going anywhere. Those defenders. Your son was pretty fired up. I saw him high-fiving and that out there. So these guys are...
We got to get an updated roster there, John. Number 47 just came in for Andy Prem, number 45. Don't know who he is, but he's going to be the cornerback now, facing number 21. And Zach's back again, and this time Zach is able to get free, and John runs forward for a 1st down. Does a good job, does Zach. The passing pocket back there collapsed, and a bunch of Braves were coming in to try to get him, and he stepped up, still looked downfield to pass. When he saw he couldn't do it, put his head down and ran for the stick. Knew where it was, got a 1st down. They moved the chain. They're on the move here with 6:50 to go in the 3rd quarter.
No question. I'm not sure, but that 47 may be Bryce Myers. He's one of the kids that came on within the last couple weeks.
Okay,
Sure.
Looks like 47's back out, 49, Andy Prem back in on 1st and 10. As Zach Stratman now sets his defense. It's a pitch out to the left side, and number 63, Scotty Porter, comes in and slows up the running back. And then number 32, Teddy Bolser, and several other Braves come in and finish off the deal there. John, on a 1st down play that went for about a 2-yard loss, it's now going to be 2nd down and 12.
Yeah, Big Scotty slowed him down, like you said, and then the swarm of the Braves came in and got him. That's how you play good swarm defense.
2nd down now and long for Zach Stratman, and the Wildcats. A pitch up the gut and a nice run there by number 2, Adam Pettyjohn, who comes up and maybe gets 3 or 4 yards out of it, John, but really did a good job of weaving in there and picking up about 4 yards. Should have been dropped behind the line of scrimmage, kept his head up and did a great job.
No question about it. I was just watching the coaching staff on the side here, how they're relaying the plays to the boys, and these kids got to learn a lot of hand motion. They're smarter than me.
Big number 50, Jerry Jones, the center for the Wildcats, Zach comes up to the ball and gets ready to snap it to his quarterback, Zach Stratman, who's got a 3rd down and about 8 to go, and there's a fumble there, and Zach does the right thing, and that's drop to the ground and make sure nobody gets it, John. Sometimes you think as soon as your knee hits the ground, you're dead. The ball's dead here, and sometimes you might want to try to pick that ball up and run with it, but Zach did the smart thing. He didn't. He made sure he protected the ball, and they're probably going to have to punt, but we'll get the ball back on the 35 instead of the 45.
Like you say, Zach did the right thing. You got that big line. They want that ball. I would have went down to. I think they're going to punt the ball now.
Big number 73 comes in for Indian Hill. Don't have his name, but he's coming in to help out. Teddy Bolser is almost able to block the ball, and Charlie Lappin is not able to get the ball right away, John, and then he falls on it. He does the smart thing as well when he realizes that it's better to have the ball than give up the ball. He jumps on top of it. Braves are going to have the ball on about the 44-yard line to start this this series.
No question about it. We talked earlier, those kickoffs can be scary because a lot can happen when that ball bounces, and you know what, pigskin bounces in some strange ways.
Matt Griggs, number 93, moves out wide to the right as Bo's got 2 backs in the backfield, 34 Matt Wells and 11 Wally Morris. He's going to give to Matt, and Matt is briefly stopped at the front line and then makes his way out to the side of the field and takes 3 Wildcats to bring him down, including number 24, Brendan O'Leary, number 57, Travis Roth, and I didn't see the other player, John, but a great job by Matt. Matt got met at the line by a player, didn't stop, moved out to the outside, found some open room, and really turned it on and got the ball down to about R37. Big gain.
Yeah, it was quite a run by Matt again. I was watching him through the spyglass here of the camera, and I lost him there for a minute, and he popped out.
Charlie Lappin out wide to the right, Bo back, he's going to throw. He's looking, he's got 50 to beat, and number 50, Jerry Jones, center on offense, pretty good lineman on defense, brings Bo down, wraps him up, and pulls him to the ground, John. A good sack for him.
Yeah, good sack. Loss of some yardage here, and see what the next scheme is by the coaching staff.
3:10 and counting in the 3rd quarter of this game. Braves up 28-0 here on a chilly afternoon in October at Tomahawk Stadium. Bo and the boys faced with 2nd down and a long 13 yards to go as number 11 Wally Morris goes in motion. Teddy bounces off to the left and then fumbles the ball. He picks it up, John, but that concentration that Teddy had to have to keep his eye on the ball and get it back was all that the Wildcats needed to be able to drag him down for a loss. Number 14 for the Wildcats, Daniel Abel, and several other Wildcats got in there and really wrapped him up and dropped him for about a 4-yard loss.
Right. Still waiting for Ted to make that one big turn around the outside. We saw him do it so many times, and it will happen. 3rd
down and 17 yards to go now for the Braves as they're moving backwards after that big run by Matt Griggs. And Bo back to pass. He looks, and there's some contact going to be called. Number 20, Dan Abel, hit Wally while Wally was trying to catch the ball. And you know, John, I'm a Braves fan, but I'll tell you, it looked to me like Danny was going for the ball as well. Might not have called that, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Both we're looking at the ball, and that's usually what the sign is. And, but like you say, we'll take it.
You know, John, the secret to an undefeated season is having good players, which the Braves have, having players that can execute, which the Braves do, but also getting luck every once in a while. And that might have been one of those luck plays that we'll take because it gives us a big 1st down at about the 35-yard line.
No question about it. They're on the move again.
Bo's got 2 receivers to the right. He's back to pass. He looks. He's got Wally, and Wally jumps up, John, and almost makes a great catch there. Did exactly what he had to do as Bo threw the ball up so only Wally could catch it. A great throw by Bo because Wally was well covered by the defensive back on that side. 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, they're using Wally's height plus his leaping ability. He's quite an athlete there, and it's actually a good play, like you said. one thing that's pretty amazing to watch these kids in their practice. Not so many teams you don't see do this throwing that these guys are doing, but they really work on it, and they found something with Wally on that.
Second down and 10 now for Bo and the boys on the 35-yard line as Wally goes in motion to the left. Bo hands off up the gut to Matt Griggs, and number 14 for the Wildcats, Danny Abel, able to trip him up. And, you know, I'm told, John, that the key to the success of tackling Matt Wells is not trying to go toe-to-toe with him, not trying to hit him high, is to just trip him up at the legs. And that's about the only way I've seen him brought down all afternoon.
Yeah, you got to hit him low. He's a big kid, and I know his parents that were talking, and they are tickled to death this year.
His mom sure is proud. I watched her last week, not once but 5 times, get very excited as you saw Matt hit into the end zone. And now Bo's got a 3rd and 3 as he's got Charlie Lappin, number 14, wide to the left. Bo, nice pitch out there to Teddy, who's going to get a first down and more, John. He's down to the 10. He's got one man to beat, and a good tackle there by number 24 for the Wildcats, Brendan O'Leary. Kind of hard to see these numbers this late at night, John. My eyes aren't what they used to be, but a great tackle there by Brendan because Teddy was on the move. Really great play started by Bo with a nice pitch over to Ted, and then Ted turned it on as he came around the corner. 1st and goal at the 7.
Well, we had talked about number 32. Once you get him going and getting him outside, he's a hard kid to bring down. It's a beautiful play.
Bo surveying the defense, making sure the offense is set where they're supposed to be. Wally goes in motion, and there's some movement there on the line, John. I think number 63, Scotty Porter, may have moved early as Bo was backing up. Looked like that play was doomed from the start as there was some miscommunication with some of the backs in the backfield. They weren't set where they're supposed to be. I was pretty impressed with Bo. He was pointing and telling them, you're supposed to be here, not there, and they were listening to him. That's a sign of a good leader.
Well, they work on it, and I know these guys are hard on themselves also. When they make a mistake, they really come back, and they're team players, and nobody wants to make mistakes. But like you said, the first half we had some penalties. This is the first one this half so far, I believe. So it looks like they've turned that part around.
Here we go now. What was a 1st and goal at the 7 is now a 1st and goal at the 12 and 32. Teddy Bolser moves to the right as Bo back to pass. He's looking. He's good pass there to number 32, Teddy Bolser. Teddy cuts it in, and Teddy really does a great job of stretching there, John, to get the touchdown. He should have been brought down at the 5-yard line, had a guy on him, and did a really good pivot move, and then gave his body up to get the touchdown.
Well, you and I've seen it for 5 years. Once you get Teddy that ball, and once he's leaning towards that touchdown or end zone, nothing stops him. So
another rookie, number 94, Arnoff Mitra, comes in to replace number 90 and number 93. And I tell you, Arnoff is a good buddy of my son Andy's, and he was tickled pink last week. He got a 2-point conversion pass in the end zone. His mom missed it. Maybe we'll see that here, and we can show her this tape.
No question about it. He's a very good kid. I know him personally also. He was fired up.
Charlie Lappin is wide to the right as Bo and the boys are going to keep it, and Bo runs up the gut, and the referee says Bo is down and didn't make it. Not sure about that, John. Did see his knees hit, but looked like he was stretched out. But we'll take a 34-0 lead with no time left in the 3rd quarter.
Right, quite a game by the Braves so far. They've done about everything they've wanted to do. We had a couple of those. The only real negative was the penalties we've had a couple times, but when you play this much, you're going to do that a little bit. So I can't imagine the coaching staff to be too unhappy so far with what the outcome is.
Coach Eli now trying to fire up his defensive unit as they're going to come out to start the 4th quarter of this game, John, up 34-0. Probably going to see some different players, maybe hopefully play some different positions, give them a little bit of experience, and that's going to help us down the road as we play more games.
No question about it. Every kid when they come to practice, they all deserve to play. I know the defense, they're pretty, these guys they really believe in themselves, so I know they don't want to give up any touchdowns or anything cheap at this point. So I know as a team, they'll work together on making sure, try to stop that, but I'm sure we're going to see a lot of changes shortly.
Coaches are bringing out some new new players on defense here to see what these new guys can do. Number 92, Ryan Chait, another rookie, is going to be playing safety for the Braves on this series. Got a couple of the big linemen still in the game. Teddy's still in the game. I think your boy Bo's out of the game right now, as well as a couple of the other players that we're used to seeing. John, 1st and 10 now for Zach Statman. As he takes the ball in the 35, he's back to pass, and great job there by number 34, Matt Wells, as he comes in and really pushes his lineman back, and Zach can't get set as he knows that Matt's on his tail there, John, and gets dropped.
No question about it. Like you say, it gives some of these other kids a chance, and many times that's how you find out. As with Matt Wells, like we said, Matt did not in the last 2 years even carry a ball, and they gave him a chance, and look what he's turned into, and that's how it all happens.
A timeout now is called by Coach Sporing for the Wildcats as he tries to come up with a combination of plays that can give these Wildcats something to cheer about this afternoon, John. They kind of picked the game up in the second quarter, taking advantage of a couple of turnovers, then getting a couple first downs. Zach got a first down this half, but the Braves defense has shut him down since then, and we've been able to get another touchdown on the board and go up very, very big.
Right. As you say, we got a lot of kids in a lot of different positions right now, and so far they've done a great job.
Well, here we go now. Zach's faced with the second down and about 13 yards to go as time is running out, and there's a fumble, and great job there by number 2, Pettyjohn, to drop on it. John again shows that he's been well coached. You know, obviously guys know where to go to score a touchdown, but there are other things you have to learn in football, and one of them is when the ball's dropped, when the ball's on the ground, you've got to do everything you can to protect it and get it back, and number 2 on that play did a good job of protecting it and keeping the ball in the Wildcats' hands.
No question about it.
Third down now and forever for Zach Stratman and the Deer Park Wildcats as he pitches back, and number 2 throws it up for grabs, and number 14, Charlie Lappin, did all he could to intercept, John, but not to be there as the pass was just a little high, and that was a pitch back, I think, to Pettyjohn, and he tried to throw downfield hoping that the flea flicker might fake us, but our defense is pretty talented and they're pretty stingy, and they knew it was coming.
Yeah, pretty impressive stand here by this defense. Like I said, a lot of kids are in different positions and they're still doing a great job.
Well, here we go now, 7:05 to go, 4th down. For Zach and the boys as there's a fumble, and a nice job there by number 63, Scotty Porter. John, we see it week in and week out with Scotty Porter. He blows in, he causes disruption. He's a very deceptive kid from a standpoint. He doesn't look like the kind of guy that's going to burn you. In fact, he won't burn you on speed, but what he might lack in foot speed, he makes up for on sheer determination. On that play, he got back and got the ball and put us in a very, very good position for another score.
No question, nobody touched him. That kid came in and the kid didn't know what happened.
Number 24, Bo Cordell, has number 34, Matt Griggs, and number 49, Andy Prem. And Andy cuts it up and does a pretty good job there, John, of picking up about 8 big ones on that play off to the right. I think Matt did a good job of blocking for him, but I know Andy last week got some reps at running back and didn't get to carry the ball, did some blocking, and he told me he talked to the coach this week, and the coach said, you want to run it, you show me you can do it, and looks like he did that in practice and did a good job there.
Mr. Prem had a big score last week. We remember that one, buddy. Bo was tickled to death with him. They were both fired up. 2nd
and 2 now for Bo and the boys as he runs it up the gut, and might have been a broken play there, John, as Andy came up on his left side, then that ball might have been intended for Andy, and Bo did the right thing. Once he realized there wasn't anybody to give it to, he took the ball himself and got the first down, and the coaches were questioning him about the play, and I could hear him yell out, there wasn't anybody to give it to, and so he did a good job there. 1st and 10 now for the Braves, or 1st and goal for the Braves on the 7 is The clock is moving, and number 34, Matt Wells,
Met right at the line.
was met at the line on a great tackle there. Didn't see the number, but you got to give credit to these Wildcats. They're staying in the game. They're still playing hard. They're going to play you all 32 minutes of the game, and they've really shown me something this afternoon. Most guys would quit. They haven't done it.
No question about it. I knew they wouldn't. That's where I went to school, Dave, so these guys are tough.
So some mixed feelings here for you, John, as you watch the Indian Hill Braves. Doing a great job here. Bo's back. He's looking, and he passes, and that play is knocked down there by number 40 for the Wildcats. Don't have his name on my roster, John. He's done a great job this afternoon. I know he's been in a couple plays. We probably called his name earlier when the coaches were giving us his name, but did a good job there stopping another 6.
No question about it. Excellent defensive play, and it's tough when you're running out like that to throw the ball, but you got to make those plays.
3rd down now and 7 for Bo and the boys with 5:02 left in the game, and Andy is in motion, and he's going to follow Matt Wells, but gets dropped there after about a 1-yard gain by number 14, Danny Abel, and we called his number quite a bit this afternoon, John. Dan Abel did a good job there dropping Andy.
Yeah, he met him again right at the line. Looks like that Deer Park line's getting a little better as this game's went on here. They've done some nice plays here in the last 3 or 4 downs.
Well, John, one of the signs of a good team is if you can step up to your competition, and the Deer Park Wildcats have done that this afternoon. They haven't gotten many breaks, but Andy moves now, and see the frustration in Bo's eyes as he was trying to tell him where to go, and Andy moved forward and then moved back. Not allowed to do that in this league. If you start moving forward, you got to go to the right and just keep moving until he snaps the ball. And so that's going to set us back now to 4th down and about 14 yards to go. .415 and counting now on 4th and 14, and Bo back, and he pitches back to number 47, number 43 rather, Kane Muir, who makes his way to the outside. It was a great play by Bo, John, because it looked like Bo was cutting it up, and I think the Wildcats all thought that as well, and some of them gave up a little prematurely. As Bo was getting hit, he pitched back to Kane, who was in perfect position to take that pitch out, and he rattled it around the sideline for the 14 yards we needed to get another touchdown, and now we're up 40.
They faked me out. I thought it was a quarterback sack there when he turned around.
4:04 left, John, in this game now, and we'll see if we can get another 2 big ones on the board as Bo splits receivers out to the right and to the left. And he's going to hand off right up the gut to number 34, you know who, John, who
Mr. Wells.
is able to do what he's been doing all afternoon and pick up another 2, put that on the board, and put us up 42-0. And John, now you see the Braves are going to probably shift around again on defense, try to get some of these guys that haven't had a lot of playing time this season some experience. And you know that's very helpful, John, when a kid has the opportunity to not only play, but play at a couple of different positions, because you never know in this game when somebody's going to be hurt, when somebody's not going to be able to play. We saw a game a couple of weeks ago where an 8th grade young man broke his arm and is out for the season, and the 8th grade teams had to step up and replace him, and that's why it's good to see these guys out there.
No question about it. And like you say, these kids are in there for at every practice. They deserve to be in.
Hand off to Pettyjohn, number 2, on the outside there, and number 30, number 36, John, whose name's not on my roster here, makes a pretty good tackle. I'm thinking 47 is Kevin Klug.
Okay. Can't wait till the day when they have their names in the backs.
That would be nice. Of course, last year they had their names on their backs, and a couple other teams had their names on their backs, and we weren't able to call those
That's right.
any better than we're doing now.
That's
So
all guys with these eyes.
Zach Stratman now, 2nd down and 10, is under center, and he's going to hand off to number 2, Pettyjohn, who tries to come to that left side, and once again he's met at the line by, looks like number 34, Matt Wells, and it's kind of hard to run on Matt. He's a good runner himself, but it's kind of hard to run on him, John.
He's a strong kid. What was interesting is the gentleman who was standing next to us is our youth minister, Bo's youth minister at our church, and a lot of the kids go from Deer Park from Indian Hill there, and he was kind of torn in between. So.
Well, I heard him keep saying when he heard us talking, "Heaven help us." I don't know what he meant by that, John, but 3rd down now for Zach is a good tackle there. Ball's up in the air, and Wally Morris does a great job of intercepting it. One man to beat. He's at the 10, 5. Touchdown. Great job there by Wally, John. Kept his eyes on the ball, knocked it up in the air, put it down. Only Pettyjohn, the beat, was able to do it. Puts us up big, 48-0.
I've seen a lot from that kid today on those passes and how they've been throwing it high to him. That kid's got a leaping ability, but what a great catch by him. What a great catch.
John, 2:23 left in the game now, and Braves are going to try to get another 2 points. And, you know, if you're Coach Eli with this 7th grade team, you got to be tickled pink. They have only allowed one team the whole season in 4 games to score 6 points. That was on a broken play when we had some kids in at different positions, just learning the positions early in the season. This defense is unbelievable.
These kids have come to play football, and they really believe in themselves.
Number 43, Kane Muir, tries to get in to make it 50, unable to do it, and the Braves will have to be satisfied as you're looking at that scoreboard with a 48-0 lead here, 2:23 to go.
Well, last week they scored 70 points. This week 48. Pretty awesome. And even that game last week when we had 70, we had a lot of kids in and out too. It wasn't like they were trying to push the score up, but it's hard to stop a fine-tuned little machine here. These kids believe in themselves, and that's the key.
A lot of what happened, John, is just like the play you just saw Wally make is, a kid makes a great play, an interception. You can't expect him to fall to the ground. He's going to run until he's tackled, and really Wally just showed some outstanding speed there and did a great job of getting into the end zone. Zach's got a 1st and 10, hands off up the gut, and number 24, Brendan O'Leary, picks up maybe 2 yards there, John, and a pretty good run up the middle for him.
No question about it. This Deer Park team, back in my years, we had Pettyjohn was actually a little after me, but what a ball player he had. And the Deer Park went to the state and won a couple years back when we were up at my age level. And these kids will grow from this, and we'll be seeing them in the big times, kid.
1:45 and counting now until the game is over. Zach pitches back to Pettyjohn, and number 43, Kane Muir, comes in and causes some major disruption for Pettyjohn. He fumbles the ball, and number 18 for Indian Hill, who's a new player, John, not sure who he is, got in there and jumped right back on the ball and gives us the ball back with 1:34 to go.
Here he comes. I don't know who number 18 is. He'll be tickled to death.
Got to get an updated roster, John. We're seeing a lot of Braves make some great plays here, and it'd be nice to give them the recognition they deserve when they do a good job.
No question. They're all giving him high fives on the side. That's neat. That's what it's all about.
Bo's got 2 backs in the backfield. Andy split out wide to the left, and number 34, Matt Griggs, is going to go in for another touchdown there, John. And John, I think that's a good example of what we were talking about earlier. Coach Eli is not trying to score a touchdown on that play, but he hands off to Matt to go up the gut, and really Matt just does the rest. He's hard to bring down. He's very strong and very fast, and he was in the defensive backfield before they knew what hit him.
No question. You can't stop a kid from running. The moves that kid's got, in and out, in and out, in and out. He's hard to grab.
He's got more moves than the San Andreas Fault, and showed it on that play as the Braves go up 54-0. 1:25 left. Bo is going to give it to 43, Kane Muir, and the Braves go in to score another 2 points, and now the score is 56-0, John. We're getting close to that score from last week, and see if the defense can just shut these guys down, and we'll take this as a victory.
No question about it. I'm sure the defense at this point, that's the only thing they got to play for, is to keep them off the field, off the scoreboard now, because why not? That's what they've been taught to do.
Cheerleaders are ripping off 56 big ones in honor of the score, John, and they got to about 8 or 9 and figured it was too cold and there was too many points.
I don't blame them.
But here we go now, 1st and 10 for Zach Statman with about 1:24 and counting left. And timeout is called. John, I'm not really sure. Give Zach some credit there. He recognized he didn't have enough players on the line, and he called a timeout. That is the sign of a mature quarterback, a guy that knows what he's doing.
No question about it. It's one thing to control yourself, but you have to look for another 10 guys out there, and that's what he did.
And we laugh up here when we know that these plays are dog leg right, split end, this and that, and to give these young guys credit. They're 7th graders, they're 12 and 13 years old, and really they're smart kids and do a good job.
No question about it. Yeah, when you look at the playbooks that these teams have, it's mind-boggling to me to see the plays these kids know, and they're all smart. And to be out there, you can't be dumb. You've got to be and you've got to put a lot of time in it. These coaches put a lot every day after school. The coaching staff on Saturday mornings. You got to give the kids, the parents to get them to the practices. That's what it's all about, and you can see what it's all coming true at the ball club.
Zach Statman now looking at a 2nd down and about 4 yards to go, and there's a good handoff there and another fumble, and the Braves get the ball back, 36 and 38 for the Braves. They're able to pounce on that goal. 36 is Cole Klosser, does a pretty good job of getting in there, along with number 38. Don't have his name, John, but a good player there who's playing safety and knew what to do. Helped Cole out, and we got the ball back with about 23 to go.
No question about it. I'm almost afraid to hand off to Matt Wells. One of our fans are down here harassing us.
We've got fans.
Just one.
1st and 10 for the Braves now. 23 seconds left in this game. It's 56-0, and Bo Cordell is going to hand off. And this time, Matt's going to get 5 or 6 yards, but it's going to fall to the ground, and the clock's going to run out now on the Wildcats this afternoon, John. Is give Bo some credit. He's not satisfied with a 56-point lead. He wanted to keep going. Coach Eli would have none of it, let the clock run out. And so that's the way this game is going to end, 56-0. Indian Hill Braves. John, another impressive win for the Braves over a pretty good but perhaps overmatched Deer Park team.
No question about it. The kids have really come to play football this year, Dave. I mean, it's 70 points, 56 points. The other scores have been big, except for the first game. Like you said, we scored 6, I believe.
John, we picked up 2 in this game where we left off last week. Last week we saw scoring and outstanding play from every side of the ball in the Braves, special teams, offense, and defense. It's true of this game today as well. We saw an interception by Wally Morris. We saw number 14, Charlie Lappin, run a punt back. He didn't get a touchdown, but put us in very, very good field position on around the 10 or 15 yard line, and that led to a score. Saw some outstanding offense from Bo, a great pass to Kane Muir that led to a score, some great running by Matt Wells and Teddy Bolser. When you take all those things and add them up, along with our tenacious defense, which is now in 4 games only given up 6 points and very few first downs, that's going to add up to a Indian Hill victory, which is what we have this afternoon.
No question about it. And I was just thinking at it. You've seen the guys all line up together and shake hands and stuff. After the heat of the battle, at the end, you can shake hands and move on, and they'll see each other on the streets and have fun. But a lot of these kids will be playing football together now for the next 6 years.
And John, that's the great thing about this sport that I've learned and I've watched over the years, is that these kids really do develop a friendship with kids from other schools and other parts of our community, because they have one thing in common, that's playing sports, sportsmanship. Hats off to the Braves and to the Deer Park Wildcats for a great game this afternoon.
No question about it. Dave, it's been a pleasure working with you, buddy. It's been a year, and we're back.
Been a year, just as bad as we were and just as rusty as we were last year. We'll be back next week with any luck at the Reading game. It's going to be a big game for us, John, as we continue on our march for a perfect season, and we march toward that big game with Wyoming. Until next week, this is Joe and Andy's dad, Dave Prem, along with Bo's dad, John Cordell, saying bye, everybody, from Tomahawk Stadium. We gotta get day jobs.
I know. They won't.